Let the socialist games begin. Mayor Zoran Mondani's promise of city-owned grocery stores is running headfirst into the people who actually feed New Yorkers.
Red flags started flying after City Hall invited bodega owners to a so-called roundtable, only to hit them with a barrage of questions about their profits, best-selling products, and business models. Now Mamdani's team is scrambling to convince local grocers they won't see their prices undercut and be driven out of business. But many aren't buying it.
Joining us now, Multicultural Business Coalition Chairman Frank Garcia. His group declined a meeting with Deputy Mayor, saying that they want answers directly from Mondani himself. Frank, I know you weren't at this meeting with the
but my members
Mayor,
were.
Julie Sue. But reading about it, outrageous. What are they up to? That they were trying to grill these bodega owners about, what items do you sell? Which ones are the most profitable? Which ones do you make the most money on? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to get over on these minority-owned bodega owners?
To me, it's outrageous. Today, I just came from a press conference with my counterparts, with Fernando Mateo and the president of the Bodega Association and the president of the National Supermarket, Anthony Pena. We're all outraged because they have consultants that are really not consulting them. How can you think that the supermarkets are selling cigarettes? They don't sell, supermarkets don't sell cigarettes. A lot of them don't. It's the bodegas. Now they're saying lottery tickets. They wanted to know what type of profit we're making on that when we don't even sell that. So I think they're out of touch, and what they're doing is creating more division. Right now, we had the legal counsel call me this week wanting to meet with me. I want to meet with the mayor. I don't want to meet with the legal counsel or the deputy mayor of economic injustice, because she's supposed to be helping minority businesses, not hurting them. So to me, she is our perfect person that was put there to hurt our community, hurt the immigrant community that need loans right now. The mayor should be talking about loans. Like I told Fernando Mateo, it's not about how our profit margins of the bodegas. My grandfather was president of the Bodega Association. He would be rolling his grave with the way I was in the Marqueta. How are they going to put where Puerto Ricans started? That, to me, my stomach rolled over when I was with Fernando Mateo in the press conference today. To me, what are they doing? First thing that the president of the National Association said, Frank, you're going to be there representing us. You need to tell them, we don't sell lottery tickets. We don't sell, and we're not making money on cigarettes. Cigarettes, there hasn't been a raise on cigarettes in years. So why are they mentioning stuff that we're not selling? And it's not fair to our vendors to say our pricing, because a lot of the bodegas have confidentiality agreements that people don't recognize.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think the mayor is so reticent to meet with you? Why is he sending out his lieutenants instead of sitting down with who he claims to be as a very important constituency in his city?
Look, I'm not ashamed, and it's a mistake. I voted for him. Like I told his legal counsel, I want to meet with him. He wants wants to meet with me, his legal counsel. We said, you know what? Our president is a lawyer. Let him meet with Kenny. You don't want to meet with me? I'm okay. I don't want to meet with you because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what they want to discuss. They never wanted to tell me what they wanted to speak to me. If we're going to sue them, then you can meet with us. But even when I sued Mayor Bloomberg, I've never spoken to the legal counsel.
Yeah.
Normally, you don't do that.
They
Normally,
want you to meet with the legal guy, and you're saying, I don't want to meet with the legal guy. I want to meet with the mayor. This is his policy.
And I don't want to meet with the deputy economic justice that's in justice. Why? Because they should be working on the issues with certification that's taking our members 2 or 3 years to get certified. They should be dealing with the corruption in SPS, not that she oversees. She should be sitting down with us and saying, how can I help you? Access to capital? You can't get capital because the SBA is not giving immigrants business loans no more. We'll help you with that.
It seems like, reading some of the questions that were being asked these bodega owners and these operators, it seems like that the city is trying to figure out the best way to put them out of business.
They want us to be their consultants. If they got $30 million, let them hire people that know this. Don't try to take information from our members.
But be a consultant to put yourself out of business.
Right.
To
That's
help
correct.
them. Yeah. Right.
Frank Garcia, always appreciate your perspective on this. Thanks for giving us
You
the latest
regret
on it.
voting for Mondani?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good to know. All right, from one progressive mess to another, let's talk Graham Plattner.